So, once again, I am here doing like my once a year update. I figure since it was close to the end of the year, I might as well like do like a recap for the last 2 years. Since the last one I did was like I think it was sometime in July of last year. I know it was right before I moved. And yeah, I have a lot to update on. Like a lot of stuff has happened. Most of it not so good, unfortunately. Hopefully, I'm talking loud enough because I think most people have to turn up their volume like all the way to hear me because I'm so used to like not talking that speaking at a low volume sounds loud. But I guess I'll start off with the move, and that went all right. It was kind of hard for me. It was kind of hard moving all that stuff out. I mean, we were there for 25 years since I moved here when I was 12, so that was not an easy ordeal, and everybody had to move their stuff out because like we lived on the bottom floor. It was a two-family flat. We lived on the bottom floor, and my grandmother and aunt lived on the top floor. So it was basically just me and Kevin, my stepfather. Who I didn't really talk about him too much before, but he's been with my mom like on and off, probably since I was in high school, and kind of disappeared for a while and then came back. But yeah, they've been together for a pretty long time. I know when I started doing videos, he wasn't really in the picture, but so yeah, it was just me and him, basically moving everything out, well, at least like the heavy stuff. And we got into this house. It's like 5 bedrooms, and it's a lot bigger. I have a bigger room. I'm doing this on my iPad, so I'll just have to pick it up and like do a quick thing. How do I do this? Oh, that's TV. My small bed. I need a new bed. I'm not doing a good job of this. But yeah, it looks pretty much the same. I got a good shot of it all. Yeah, it's just a little bit bigger. Well, no, it's a lot bigger. Maybe like the size of 1.5 times the size of my old room. So, what else should I talk about? I wrote notes down, so I'll just refer to those. So starting off, when we moved here, everything was fine, but then in September of last year, my grandmother had like a heart attack. She had like several heart attacks, like 3 back to back, while she was in the hospital. Because like she was having tremors in her hand, and thankfully, like she was staying with us for a week to help my mom because my mom had just had back surgery, and so my mom took her to the hospital, and she was in there for like 5 days, and everything seemed fine. But then out of nowhere, we got a call, and the nurse had said that she had had a heart attack, and so several heart attacks, like I was saying. And when she had them, she had been out for so long because there was nobody there. She told the nurse that she felt dizzy, and the nurse went to go get someone and wasn't back for a good 15 minutes. And yeah, there was a lot of damage that happened to her brain because of that. Because, she was essentially dead for 15 plus minutes before they could bring her back. So that was the last time that we ever, that was like the last time that we got to be with, my grandmother as we knew her. Because after that, even though they brought her back, she couldn't talk anymore. She was pretty much a vegetable. And that was like a huge blow to our family. Because she was super important in my life. And I mean, thankfully she didn't die, right away from that. And she did survive up until, actually, I think it was July of this year. Yeah, July of this year. So, yeah, I guess I should go ahead and move on to this year, how things have been going. This has probably been like the worst year I've ever had, because I have had 3 deaths in my family. Like I mentioned, my grandmother, and then Kevin died in October. And actually, it was my mom married him this year, like in our backyard. And I mean, I was really anxious about that, but because there were a lot of people. But I remember taking some valerian. Like a friend mentioned that would help, so I took some of that, and that actually worked and got me through. And me and my brother walked her down the aisle, or the driveway, rather. And they were official for a good couple months, because he had been diagnosed with lung cancer not too long before, and that was like, he wasn't sure how much, it was stage 4, and he wasn't sure how much time he had left, so he kind of wanted to just do everything he'd been holding off. And even after all the treatments he got and stuff, it just, he still ended up passing away a few months ago in October. So, yeah, I mean, he was a big part of the family, and of course, it was really hard on my mom. She just lost her mom, and now her husband. And the third death that I had, I know, like, was out of nowhere, out of the blue. It was my biological dad, who I haven't seen since I was like 3 years old, so that was like 33 years ago. And he died earlier this month on the 10th. And like, I just got a call out of nowhere from the coroner's office they were looking for my mom, and I didn't know who it was. I figured it was maybe spam or bill collector or something like that. So I was like, "Oh, you got the wrong number." And he was like, "Well, I'm looking for anybody who could be related to, my father, because we found him and he died in his apartment." And I was just like, I was shocked, Couldn't believe that. I hadn't heard anything about him for so many years. I even looked for him online some years ago, but I couldn't find. I was able to trace certain places that he had moved to, but yeah, I couldn't find a whole lot of information on him. So I honestly thought that he had passed away like years ago. And I remember thinking maybe he had other kids, I could have some other siblings out there, but it turns out I am the only kid that he ever had, and I don't think he remarried or anything. So no, it's been a pretty hard year. Um, Hopefully next year is gonna be like a lot better than this. So far, at least the past couple weeks have been, better. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. But and then I've been having like my own issues. Starting off with like, I started having vision issues. I've never had issues with my vision. I've always had 20/20 vision. But back in October, like the beginning of October, I started noticing like headlights, like street lights and stuff at night would have like an asterisk sort of look to them. I guess they're called starburst. And I just thought that was odd. Like I had never really seen that before, and I didn't really think anything of it. But it started to get worse, and it started to get like a little harder for me to see at night. And I noticed my eyes. What I thought was my eyes, like they were It looked like they were changing shape, but on closer examination, It seemed like they were protruding out of my head, like every few days or so. And I was looking up. I know you're not supposed to do this, but I looked up symptoms on like WebMD, and a lot of my symptoms matched up with like thyroid disease. So I was like, oh man, do I have like hyperthyroidism? So I went to before I went to a doctor. I went to an eye doctor just so they could check and see that everything was all right. I did like some eye test, and my vision was still clear and everything. And I explained everything to them, and they couldn't find anything wrong, so they just sent me home. I went as I guess as the months went on, like my issues started getting worse and worse. My eyes were protruding even more, and it was getting even harder for me to see at night. My contrast sensitivity wasn't as good as it used to be, and so yeah, I went to see like at least 5 eye doctors. I saw my primary care doctor, but because I didn't have insurance, I didn't want him to draw blood, and that's what he really needed to do. So I ended up going to a free clinic and getting blood drawn there, and they didn't find anything unusual. Like I have like a couple health issues I already talked about, like high blood pressure, and I'm at risk for diabetes because it runs in my family. So like that's the only thing that showed up. But nothing else showed up. Thyroid levels were pretty normal. And yeah, I was at a loss of what to do because you go to the doctor, they say everything's normal. You go to all these eye doctors, they say everything's like you're fine. They send you home. Eventually, I got prescribed some very light prescription glasses, which I have here. And I don't know how I look in glasses or not, but these are the ones I got prescribed. I wear them like at night, pretty much. And that's about it. But I've always had like a very mild astigmatism, and so like at a distance, my vision is just, I guess things are very, very, very slightly fuzzy, but it's not enough to really like wear glasses for. But it does help with the weird lights at night, like the starburst and everything. So, but it doesn't bring back my contrast that I've lost. Um, so like I got referred to an ophthalmologist and explained everything to him. This was just this past Monday. And he took a look at my eyes. He tested me for cataracts and glaucoma. Gave me like a peripheral vision test. Looked in the back of my eye and stuff. He said that I didn't have glaucoma, but I did have like very early stage. Um, I heard the word cortical cataracts. So I have early cataracts developing, and I remember looking that up, and that does match up with everything I've been going through. But like, I can't believe I have that issue at such, I'm only 36, so I thought that was something you get when you're a lot older. But I asked him what I can do about it, and really not a whole lot. He just wants to see me next year to see how well, or how, if they progress past this stage, or what. I mean, at least there's surgery that you can get to get them removed. I don't want to get surgery. I've seen videos of that surgery, and people that have gotten it say it's not painful and that they can see a lot better and everything. But any sort of eye surgery, any sort of surgery in general has like so many risks. And yeah, I don't want to do that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what to do at this point. I mean, I guess I just have to wait and see. It's annoying to deal with because although it hasn't affected my vision severely, and I can still see clearly. Like I said, I can't see in the dark very well. So driving at night can be a bit of an issue. My contrast is not as good anymore. So not only can I not see in the dark very well, but I can't see detail very well in anything that's dark. So like, if there's stuff in the shadow, I can't see a whole lot of detail in that. Same thing if I'm like watching TV. TV it's kind of weird because even watching a video on TV or a video on, on my phone or tablet or something on TV at the highest quality, it'll be like pixelated. I guess because not as much light is able to get into my eye as it used to be, as it used to be able to. And so it feels like a layer of detail or something is missing. And so there's pixelation when I'm looking at digital videos or photos. And that's kind of annoying. It's actually really annoying. But the most important thing is that I can still see clearly. I don't have like blurry vision. But like with cataracts, a lot of times they do get worse. And so I may end up needing surgery. I wish there was like a natural alternative or something I could do. But I don't know of anything that you can do. A lot of doctors are saying just the only way to get rid of them is surgery. So yeah, this has been a pretty fun year. It's been a great year. My anxiety is still, I'm almost at 20 minutes. I didn't want to make this like super long, but I guess it's kind of inevitable with everything I have to update on. But my anxiety is still the same. It hasn't really gotten better. Haven't really been doing anything about that. still occasionally go to like the anxiety, depression group meetups that my old therapist runs, but I can't say they really help me that much. I really just kind of go to get out of the house, and it's an easy thing to go to. I'll be around people who. There's really not that many people with social anxiety that go to them because a lot of these groups merge the anxiety and depression, and so you end up getting like 90% of the people there. They're just like they're dealing with mainly depression, and they might have like mild or general anxiety. But I've only met like maybe one person who had social anxiety, and I had met her years ago. Like she still goes on off and on. But I don't know anybody else that actually has social anxiety. And I wish there was a therapy group where you don't just sit down and you talk about it. Like you actually, like it's proactive. Like you actually do stuff. But I didn't have health insurance for the longest, and I just got some. Well, it starts on the first of the year. So hopefully I can, start going back to therapy or get into something. I really feel like therapy doesn't help me that much. I need something more hands-on because everything I've tried just doesn't really work. Or if it works at first, it doesn't keep working. So lately I've just been doing like emotional freedom technique, which is also called EFT. And that's like tapping at different points, like on your head and face and stuff like that. And it looks kind of ridiculous. I think I talked about it before, but you can look it up. It actually does help. Because I think how it works is it distracts you when you're tapping, but you're also acknowledging what you're going through. You're acknowledging your feelings, and you're hitting on pressure points, like acupressure points. And after doing that, like at least 5 or 6 times, you actually do feel better. You don't have to believe in it or anything like that. So I'm going to try to just work more with this. And yeah, I don't know. I guess that's about it for now. I'm sure I have more stuff to talk about, and I did sort of just quickly gloss through everything. But yeah, it was enough. Like, me and my family, we have been through way too much this year, so I really hope next year will be a lot better. And I hope I can do more videos, but like I don't know. I tend to run out of stuff to talk about, or I just put it on the back burner and end up not getting to it for a year, down the line. Right now I'm looking for a new job because I'm still at the same job. And I went on an interview to do like Amazon, for an Amazon delivery job. And I don't know if I got that yet. The hiring manager, she was like a younger girl in her 20s. And she said it was pretty easy. It was a group interview, so it was like me and 8, 9 other people. She was just explaining the job and how straightforward it is. You make like $16 an hour, but you can easily move up to 18 within like a week or it doesn't take that long to get promoted or to get a raise rather. And I mean, I hope I get it. I do need to save a lot of money because our lease is up at the end of this year, or at the end of July, because we moved in July of last year, and we were supposed to move out this year, but we just didn't have enough money saved up to do that. So it's going to be in 2020 July that we move out and go our separate ways. My sister is staying here. At least that's what she says she wants to do, because she has herself and her son who's 3, and she needs a 2-bedroom, and every other place that she finds that has a 2-bedroom, like apartments and stuff, they're like the same rent as what we're paying now. So she figures she might as well just stay here. But I'd like to get like my own place. I've never had my own place before. It's time. So I'm going to just go ahead and start looking and saving for an apartment. And it's going to be a change because I'll have to like do everything for myself, including like cooking and all that. I don't know how to cook. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, that's it. I guess I'll update whenever I update, when I have something to say. And hopefully it won't be like a 30-minute video next time. So I hope everybody else is alright and that they have like had a good Christmas if you celebrate it, holiday, and a good New Year and all that. So, alright, see ya.